I don't know how I got drafted at pick number 1. We used to go there every Thursday night. I'll be blind every Thursday night, about 45 minutes. All the boys are trying to drag me away. And I was like, no, this needs to be said. Not now. No, it needs to be said. So, most out of bounds on the full in one game.
How many?
5. I said to Hayley, she said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I got this fucking podcast. I said, I'm going to cancel it. I can't be fuck going. I just need a bit more. I need a bit more sleep.
Cooney, man, you're on the pod. How are you?
Good,
You're just telling me about your happy birthday.
Thank you.
How old? 30, 35? 40.
Had my 40th on Saturday night, so yeah, I'm a little bit dusty from that, but
keep in mind it's Monday, so
we'll soldier on. Yeah.
How long into like your 41st year did you go?
Fair bit. Yeah, fair bit. I heard some roosters crowing at one stage.
I had a missed call from a mutual friend of ours, Ryan Griffin. Now,
Gary.
He's a great man, Griff. Unfortunately, I don't hear from him as much as I'd like to. But I
do.
Yeah, there you go. I called him and I had a missed call about 1:30 a.m. on Saturday night. So I'm assuming
really
something's come up.
Oh, we must have been warming up at 1:30. No, I think Gary left pretty early. He's pretty sensible these days, old Griff dog. But I think he wound back the clock a little bit. But yeah, most were gone. I started to filter out about 1:30. Then it got down to about 30 people, about 3. And then there was only a handful of us left in the championship rounds.
Who's? Give us some names. Is there any like niche names of like, was Jared Hardbrow there?
No, there wasn't Jared Hardbrow. No. The podium was myself, my sister-in-law, and the one and only Michael Gardner. So,
because he's your so I did see this. So Mickey Gardner,
Mick's married to Danielle, which is Hayley's, my wife's sister.
West Coast and St Kilda.
Yeah. So he made it down. It started to rain a little bit and we had a couple of fires and he threw like about 8 bales of hay on it and it just went up and there was coal everywhere and the straw everywhere and it nearly lit up the party lights that we got going. So that was that was a little bit of fun. But yeah, we probably went a little bit too hard, but you only turned 40 once. So yeah, Monday, I'm a couple of days into my hangover, a little bit dusty, and I got to do some radio after this as well, so that'll be fun on the Sports and Entertainment Network.
And don't pull up like you used to, from what I've heard.
Nah, I don't think I'll have a drink till my 50th.
Hey, if you're 40, okay,
I'm 40. Can't believe I'm 40.
HBD, that's pretty crazy, man.
What an old fuck.
How do you sum up your 40 years of life? Like, does it feel like it's just flown by? Like, I'm 32.
Yeah.
I've got 2 kids now.
Yeah.
I hang around with the boys in the office. They're like 23, 24. And sometimes I forget that I'm not their age.
Yeah,
like
go out with them.
Yeah.
And then you'll remember pretty quickly that you're not their age.
What's like, how do you look back now on career, footy, life, where you're at now? Like, what's the
I tell you, I've definitely had the most fun from 30 to 40. Like, because, you know, when you play footy, you're so restricted with everything that you can do. I was really lucky. I met my missus when I was 16, high school sweethearts, still together, still cracking on. So, like, we met 16. We had kids really young because you're so restricted with footy anyway. It's not like you can go to Europe for 6 months and go backpacking. So when you found the right person, we had kids really young. So, like, 4 o'clock, actually, my young fellow was still up with us at 4 o'clock. So there you go. He's 17 now, nearly 18. So
you have an 18-year-old?
Yeah, so we've reached that stage where our kids are older now and they can sort of come and hang out with us a little bit more. And if we want to go away, they can either come or they just stay home. So yeah.
So I could really do the maths here, but so you were what, 22?
22, yeah. So we got married. He was born in 2008. We got married in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 17. He's a big boy too, so they grow up quick.
Mate,
how old are your kids?
2 and 6 months.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 and 6 months. They're horrendous years.
I'm loving it at the moment. I love it, but I don't know what it's like to have a 17-year-old.
It is good, but it's also good when you get through the other side as well. So yeah, finished at 30 and then kids got a little bit older and we could sort of enjoy ourselves and have a little bit of fun from 30 to 40. Now I'm done, 40 to 50. I'm on a health kick for a decade.
Longevity.
Well, because I played my footy at probably 85, 83 to 90 kilos, I reckon I played. I think I played my best at 90 when I had a little bit extra on me. But finished up and sort of kept it off for a little bit, got up to, I reckon I was 103 a few months ago, and now I'm back. As long as I can keep under 100, I reckon that's healthy enough.
I don't want to sound like the same guys are too, dudes chatting on the podcast about this, but it is crazy how much your body changes. Like,
Especially when you don't do any training.
Well, that's what I found this year. Like, I used to, when I first got into an AFL system, I was like 66 kilos or something.
Oh, really?
Like, so now, the other day I weighed myself and I was
67.
Yes, no, I was 85.
Yeah, right.
Which I played at 74.
Yeah.
So like,
and there's 10 kilos. Like, you don't look like you're 10 kilos heavier, but
you haven't seen.
And I still look like I'm at playing weight as well. So,
hey mate, take us back. Number one pick.
Yep.
Adelaide. Were you a 17-year-old? Were you a young?
No, I just turned 18.
You just turned.
I just turned 18 end of September when I was drafted. So, I don't know how I got drafted at pick number 1. Like, if they went back in time and they had the social media, if they had more testing. So I didn't even go to the draft camp. It was called the draft camp back in. I didn't even go to that because I was still playing footy at West Adelaide and I was playing seniors. And we were in the finals. I think it might have been sort of around the grand final. So we made that. And they sort of just said, oh, don't worry about going to the draft camp because you've got to play footy. Mate, if I went and I tested, if I did it used to be a 3K time trial. If I did that, I would have come last. If I did my skin folds, I would have got the record highest skin folds of any kid getting drafted. The sit and reach, I couldn't even reach the thing. I was just so unprofessional and lazy that I probably would have slipped down to a rookie list pick. Honestly, I don't even know how. The only reason I got drafted number 1 is because I played some good footy in the carnivals back in the day. So, when we used to, back in my day, back in the old days, you used to play the 3 games in a week and that was it.
Yep.
So all you had to do was play 3 good games against the best kids in the country and you were sort of halfway there. So I did that and I was playing senior footy, so I got noticed a little bit there. But I reckon once I got to the Dogs, I reckon they figured out pretty quickly that I had a fair bit of work to do because I was fat and lazy.
Who was recruiting at that stage?
Scotty Clayton. And they made a big mistake. Like they said to me, because it was in June, the under-18 champs. So 2 weeks after that, Peter Rode was actually a coach of the Bulldogs in my first year. So he flew out to Adelaide. They had a meeting with me a couple of weeks after the championships, and they said, look, it's likely that we're going to fish bottom, and if we do, we're going to pick you up as the number 1 pick. So I was like, perfect.
Just chill out.
Happy days. I've made it. No, I'll give up on school. I'll go to every pub and nightclub in Adelaide for the next 3 months and just drink myself stupid like I was the king of Adelaide. So I tried to do that, which affected my fitness a little bit going into a first pre-season. But I just didn't. I didn't really I didn't think about it at that stage. And it's funny. I went through all of those junior programs. Like I was in the AFL Academy, the AIS back in those days, and you have your health, nutrition, diet. They take you through all of those things. I just didn't listen to any of it. I had no idea what I was doing, and I should have, because I had all the education, but I just didn't listen to it. So yeah, when I got to the Dogs, I was fat and I was lazy. Like we used to go out, and this is when I was still at school. We used to go out every Thursday night, me and my mates, to Marion, which is like the local shopping centre, but it had a couple of nightclubs in it. We used to go there every Thursday night. I'll be blind every Thursday night. Go to school probably midday, 1 o'clock the next day. See my friends at lunch. Go to sleep and then play footy for West Adelaide the next day. Senior footy, mind you, so SNFL, pretty good standard. And then we go out again Saturday night and then Sunday night to the Grand. I did that every week for like 4 months leading into getting drafted. What an idiot.
Do you think though, like I know I love your honesty with this because you see now it's such a professional environment. I'm not saying go out and drink every weekend and do those
I'm not
things.
saying that either.
No.
That's probably the worst thing you can do.
It is. But do you think like ignorance is bliss at some point as well? Like throughout your career, did you stay true to that ignorance, I suppose, but not in a bad way, but the way of just being like, don't let the little things faze you. Like I've played with guys that, Lockie Whitfield's a great example. Like he does not sweat the small stuff. Like, it's not about the gym. It's not about like training and the little things and the diet and stuff like that. But when he crosses a line, he gets it done. Whereas like I just freaked out about shit all the time and then I couldn't get things done.
So many people do freak out about and worry about things that don't matter. And if I have my time again, and you don't really see it until you come through the other side, like why the fuck did I worry about this? Or why did I worry about that? Yeah, you're right. There's little things that when you finish up, you look back and think, what? Why did I bother doing all that sort of stuff? So I never really
Were you able to keep that though, or did the AFL knock that sort of out of you a bit?
Well, I had to change a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had to stop eating shit, get myself to a reasonable level of fitness. But apart from that, like I was never too pedantic about, too much stuff, really. I didn't worry too much. I never got too angry after a game if I lost or I played bad. So you can ask my wife, if we could have lost by 60 points and I could have had 5 kicks, and I would be exactly the same when I walked through the door. Whereas some guys that I played with, if we lost and they played bad, they would sleep in a separate room. They wouldn't talk for 3 days. So I never used to worry too much about that because I need to go home to your family. They don't give a shit if you've lost or if you've won. So I never used to take it out on them or get too angry or frustrated. But my professionalism, it took me 3 or 4 years before I actually got that right. And lo and behold, started playing some pretty good footy from that. But yeah, I wasted the first probably 2 or 3 years of my AFL career and it was just because of when I was 17, 18, just doing stupid things, and it set me back to get to, because you got to be pretty fit to play AFL footy. Yeah. And if you want to play full-time mid, like, you got to go to another level again. So, and that took me 4 years trying to get myself fit enough to play full-time mid.
Who were the people at the Dogs? Like, who was your, I suppose, role models in a sense of like work rate, getting himself to the professional level? Yeah. Because mutual friend of ours, ex-teammates, Jason Tutt, who is a big listener of the show, and I love the Tutt man. He was talking about, I suppose,
one of the great debuts.
Mate, it was a very good start. Yeah. Very good start.
There's only one way to go after that, unfortunately, for Tutty.
But we're talking about like how strong like that list was, like 07, 8, 9 period. Like I was looking through it literally before and just seeing some of the names on that list, and obviously not having the ultimate success, but it just shows how on tune you have to be with every part of the year. But amazing names. Like who was sort of leading the way there?
So I probably when we got there, it wasn't semi-professional, but it was sort of like a little bit more relaxed environment. Like, again, you talk about going out. Like in my first year, we'd get dragged out by some of the boys who were in their early 20s on a Wednesday night if we had Thursday off.
CQ sort of drink cards sort of
set up. Yeah, and there's a little bit of that on the Saturday night, and you walk to the front and they'd open the book and they look for your face and they match it up. Right, here's your drink cards.
This is actually a full-on thing, because they did this to me once and they wouldn't let me in because they thought I was on the rookie list. Yeah, because rookie list players didn't get drink cards. Did you know?
Mate, they should be the ones that get them because they need them the most. Like, rookie list players were only on 20 or 30 grand back in the day.
It was disgusting.
So I did a little bit of that. Got dragged out. Mitch Hahn, Ryan Hargrave, like they were probably my good friends that I bonded with early, but I wouldn't call them mentors because they were probably the ones that dragged us and led us astray a little bit. But I remember at the end of 07, so I was tracking along okay, starting to play some okay footy, and I didn't do a lot of training in the off season. Like maybe a couple of times a week I'd go to the gym or go for a run, and I'd always come back in okay shape, but not really good, not ready to, tear pre-season apart. So, yeah, Jono and Rowan Smith sat me down at the end of the season and said, mate, you're not getting away with this anymore. You're not going back to Adelaide and partying with your mates for a month. You're going to stay here and we're going to drag your ass out of bed and get you to training. So, yeah, they did that 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, got me out of bed like 5:30, trained 6. They said, we're doing it early, getting it out of the way. And we didn't overtrain, but it just got me out of bed and did enough to be able to, get to pre-season and actually start probably, 4 or 5 levels above what I had in the past, and had a really good pre-season at the end of 07, and started to get a kick after that. Who would have thought? You train hard and you actually start to play some good footy.
That's your Brownlow year, obviously, heading into your Brownlow year. Yeah. Crazy. So that was, that was Jono and... Rowan Smith.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 pretty good mentors. Yeah. 2 pretty good role models. Incredible. And reasonable players.
What was that coming through that period, I suppose, like with those guys, those years, Brownlow years, making it to those prelims and then ultimately falling short? Like, how close did you think you were to success?
Yeah, pretty close. I don't think we were ever the best team. Like I think around that time there was Hawthorn, Saints and Geelong and us. So that was the 4 that were sort of going for it for that period of 3 years in a row. And we never got there. 2009 was our best chance against the Saints in the prelim. Like it was neck and neck all game. I remember Nick Rewalt took a dive, which he'd be fined probably a couple of grand for now from the AFL. Like really just like accentuated it LeBron style. It was a massive flop, and he got a free kick just after halftime before they bounced the ball. So that was Brian Harris / Lake. I think it was Brian Lake at that stage, but there might have been a little bit of Brian Harris that came back. So he knocked him, and he got a free kick, kicked the goal, and it was a pretty tight one all day. And you still think about it a lot. Like that was our best opportunity. We're a kick away or something to get through to a grand final. And you think about all the things you fucked up during the game, and like, I should have kicked it here, should I have done done that. But that was the closest that we got in 2009. 2008 was like our first time we finished top four. And I felt like we were around the mark, but there was probably a couple of teams better than us throughout the year. I think we beat Hawthorn in 2008 down in Tassie, which not many teams were able to do back then. And I thought, well, hang on, we might be a chance here. And some of the other teams around us, like the Cats. And so we had some good duels with them. And then 2010, I tore my hammy, shredded my hammy like 2 weeks before the finals. So I missed the whole final series in 2010. And after that 09 prelim, never played another final. It's crazy how quick it goes. You just think, like 2011, we were premiership favourites and the arse fell out of the place and we didn't even end up making the finals. And I think Rocket might have ended up getting sacked at the end of that year.
Yeah, far out. I want to get to that period of the club in a minute, but before we do, so obviously the Brownlow year, remiss of us not to talk about that. What was, how do you look back now on the Brownlow? I suppose even on the current day Brownlow, like how have you seen it evolve over the last sort of 10 odd years since you've won it? And what are your memories of your exact night?
Players get a lot of votes now. Like back in my day.
Every year it breaks a record.
Like I got 24 votes. Like I would have finished 10th in the Brownlow this year.
Yeah.
And even in the last few years,
what
like
did Cribbett get?
mid-30s, late 30s, like 38 votes. Like, that's a lot. So I was lucky to win it because it was a really low polling year. I think I was 4th or 5th favourite. I obviously didn't think I was going to win because I come off Mad Monday that day and had a reasonable crack at it. So I would have prepared something, maybe a note or two that I could have written down. I didn't even thank the coach, I think, when I was standing up there, which he wasn't too happy with. But I was lucky to win it, but at 24 votes. But like I'd had a pretty good year. I remember after around 15, I had a good stretch of like 4 or 5 weeks, and I think I was favourite then. And I was this will be all right. This will be a bit of fun on Brownlow night, and then dropped away a little bit towards the back end of the year. And there were some other guys who had pretty good years. There's a guy called Gary Ablett, who's
junior.
Yeah, junior. Yeah, Simon Black. He used to play for the Lions, and Richo, who was like the crowd favourite.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So there was a few ahead of me. And I was just like happy to keep getting votes. But so Mad Monday, we lost a prelim. Friday night we played, which was not ideal because then pub Saturday, pub Sunday, Mad Monday, 10 a.m. So by the time I hit the red carpet, I was ready to go to bed. I was dressed up as a giant sperm at 10 a.m. in the morning, complete with a little tail coming out the back. And then to go home, undress from my giant sperm and put my tux on and head to the Brownlow and go and win it. So, yeah, it was a pretty wild day. But word spread pretty quickly down the line. You know, when you go to the red carpet and you do your interviews and there's a couple of people that I think I did one interview and they said, no, just get up the stairs and you go and sit down. So there's really no footage of me coming in on 2008. It's just me stumbling. I think I had to take the lift up. I couldn't get up the stairs.
Mate, talk us through your teammates over this period. I'm like, my Roman Empire, which is like a young way of saying like the things that I'm obsessed with is like niche players. And like this team, I had a crush on Nathan Eagleton. Like, just love the way he went about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, microphone head, you got like Jared Grant, Andreas Everett, another former teammate of both of ours. Dylan Addison, one of the best blokes in the world.
Good man.
Will Minson, who I want to talk about in a minute. But like some of these guys on this list, like who was the rarest units you've played with?
Gee. There are some rare ones. There were some rare. I think Brian Lake is probably the rarest.
Yeah. Why is he so rare? Like, what?
Well, he's just a weird dude. Like he's a real tight ass, but then he'll spend money on like strange things, and then like a good example is after he finished footy, he bought a golf cart.
Yeah, he drives around.
And he used to drive around his local footy selling soft drink cans out the back of it. Like just real like weird stuff.
That is
like
fucking
weird
strange.
things like that. And the first week he got to Melbourne, all the boys went out night before training, and he went out, and he'd only been there a few days, and went to get a taxi from the nightclub at the end of the night. Didn't know where he lived, forgot his address. So he got the taxi back to Whitten Oval, slept in the grandstand in his clothes, and then strolled in the morning with no training kit, still in his clothes from the night out. Like just weird dude. Like really, really strange guy. And he organised our trip to Vegas one year. and he took got all the money for the accommodation and stuff. Like, you got to chip in, and he put a little clip on top of everyone's. So the room might have been $1,000. He's like, boys, it's at 1,100 for your accommodation. We're staying at the Bellagio, pretty nice joint, in the middle of the strip with the big fountains out the front, and we all check in to our rooms. Like, where is Brian? He's across the road, Planet Hollywood, in a suite.
So he's staying in a different place.
He's staying in a different place. Took out the extra money, got himself a suite at the front.
How did that go down? Or he's just like one of those guys you just can't question.
Well, you can't really question Brian. He's too big and he's too strong. But yeah,
that is outrageous.
He floated. We all went across there and trashed it, I think, a couple of nights.
That's amazing. Yeah. Speaking of footy trips, favourites?
All of them. All of them are good. It's funny, they're not, like, people ask about footy trips and they're not as loose as or as wild as what some people think because of the phrase, what happens on footy trip stays on footy trip. But there is only really like a select group that can handle a footy trip because there's guys after 2 nights, you won't see them again.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. And like we were in Hong Kong one night, 3rd night in, and Dale Morris, might have been your man Andreas, maybe a couple of others. Like we're 3 days into a footy trip, 4 o'clock, they've organised a movie night in one of the boys' rooms and 3 or 4 boys sitting back there watching a movie. Like, come on, lads. Like, it's not for everyone.
I never did a movie night.
They organised a movie night on one of the nights on footy trip. So my favourite, Hong Kong was a great place.
Yeah.
It was a great place. Underrated. The first time we went to Hong Kong, I was thinking, why are we going there? It doesn't sound like a fun place. And I was a little bit late the first one. We got to the airport. All the boys were checking in. Got my ticket. Went to go through customs. My passport wasn't working. And then like 3 customs officers came, grabbed me, took me into a room, and I was thinking, what have I done here? So what I did was I lost my passport. I got a new one, and then I found my old one, and then I took my old one to the airport instead of my new one. So I went through customs, did everything. The boys boarded the plane. I was still stuck in customs and I didn't get on the flight to go to Hong Kong. So I had to go home, get a new passport, book a new flight, and then I made it the second day to Hong Kong, which is the first night was when a couple of the boys saved a young girl from drowning in the Hong Kong harbour. So Tommy Williams and Daniel Cross were the two. They were like, the boys were just cruising around. This girl tried to actually kill herself.
Oh,
she tried to jump. She jumped off the thing and she couldn't swim. And everyone was sort of standing around watching her.
They were on the boat.
They were just on the pier. So she jumped off the pier into the harbour. And Hong Kong harbour is not a place you want to jump into. I did it a few nights later, but and they jumped in and actually saved her life. But there's some infamous footage on YouTube of us. In Hong Kong.
Is that Lang Kwai Fong?
Yeah.
Because we actually went to Hong Kong in my first footy trip ever.
Yeah.
And it was like after that one. And I remember when we got there, we're almost like, this is the infamous where you were doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
Talk us through that. What happened? Well, when did you catch wind of that being recorded and the club finding it? Because if that happened now...
Yeah,
can you imagine?
We'd be in a bit of strife now. I think we probably all get fined. I got an official warning for that from the club eventually when it came out.
Are you one to like panic about that or are you just like whatever?
Well, no, because they didn't care. The club found out about it like months before and the GM of footy was having a good laugh. He was laughing. He was pissing himself laughing. He's like, this is hilarious. But then it became public and the same guy that was laughing about it dragged me into his office. He's like, mate, this is unacceptable. Yeah. I said, hang on a minute. He's like, just sign this piece of paper, will you, and get out. So it was like we were pretty stiff because it wasn't an Aussie tourist that knew who we were or taking footage. It was just some local lady in Hong Kong that took footage of like general footage of things that went down in Lang Kwai Fong, which is a big party lane. So it starts at the top and it works its way down. There's about 60 or 70 different joints. So you can just sort of start at the top, work your way down. And we actually had a junk boat trip out in the harbour that afternoon. So we'd started pretty early. We got kicked off the boat actually because I did a backflip into the water and there was a couple of teammates who will remain nameless actually bent over and they were trying to shit on me. They were dropping logs on me while I was trying to swim back onto the boat. And actually, I think a couple of those turds that hit the Hong Kong harbour might have cleaned it up a bit because it was absolutely filthy and I was crook as a dog after that. So, I got some I got some bombs dropped on me there. So we got kicked off the boat because of that.
Did any of them hit you?
No, they were miles off.
Okay.
No, I was a fast swimmer. Like, they had to shoot them out pretty quickly for me to get back. I know, it was crook. And blokes were doing some other silly things on the boat as well. So we got kicked off of there only a couple of hours in, and then we went to Lang Kwai Fong, and the boys are, pretty charged up. There was Lucas Markovic, who was
I remember he used to wear his socks up real high.
Yeah, she was a defender at that stage. He had shoulder surgery. So he'd coming off a week shoulder surgery. He was in a sling, and he's captured on camera just crawling across, doing the slugger pillar on the ground with his sling, like smacking his shoulder into the ground. So the club weren't too happy with that. Andrew Hooper was doing the worm over a taxi. There was just some general shenanigans. I think I come sliding past on an esky lid at one stage. So yeah, it was all a bit of fun. So that's the sort of like silly things that you do on a footy trip. Nothing's too outrageous. Don't think anyone's moved.
The shitting on each other that's a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit too far.
That's just that line. I think there's a line, and
I think
they crossed it.
I don't think too many blokes were happy about it. I wasn't.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, it was pretty sick.
That's
none of them hit me though. I managed to evade them.
That's good. Hey, changing topics to shitting on each other, but around that period too, like there's this, I suppose, like a romantic history around Rocket Eade. And like the longer it goes on, I feel like the more people just want to know about him and what he was like in that period.
Yeah.
There's obviously the infamous Will Minson leak.
Yeah, Will hates that.
I know he does.
He hates it.
Yeah, I know. But
we love it.
But the more you hate it, the more it's going to come. So you just got to embrace it.
Yeah, you can't shy away from that sort of stuff. But that was literally every week.
Every week.
Like, that wasn't a one-off.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was like. Like, at training, in games, that was what he was like. He was a psycho.
Yeah.
Genuine psycho.
You got a great relationship with him. Like, you like that style of coaching?
Loved him. Yeah. Because you always knew where you stood with him. And he also, he gave me the freedom to sort of do my own thing a little bit, because I'm not like Daniel Cross. I'm not like Matthew Boyd. If I'm the first one there and I'm the last one to leave, it'll do my head in. So he sort of let me do what I needed to do to play my best footy, as long as I played well for him. And then, that was okay. So he was really good like that. But he was just, as soon as you talk about white line fever, as soon as he crossed the white line, like training in games, he would just flick this switch where his eyes would roll in the back of his head, and he would just lose it. And proper sprays too. Like he'd get personal with players and all those sorts of things. And some blokes couldn't handle it. Like, some got traded and some got delisted because they just couldn't handle the way that his style was. But I loved him because he was he was really passionate about it. He's pretty knowledgeable about the game. Like, sometimes we would win games just because we were scared to lose. But it was good. Like, he would, and as soon as you're off the track, he would like smile and laugh, have a joke, like stick his finger in your bum when you're on the massage table, all those sorts of things, which I don't know, HR, I don't know if you could get away with it these days. But even some of his sprays, I remember quarter time, and Brian was always in the gun, because he knew even if Brian was playing well, he could spray Brian as hard and could say whatever he wanted, and Brian would always play better. So Brian would always cop the brunt of it. But I remember one day at quarter time, we're down by, we might have even been up by a couple of goals. Who knows? We've been up by 60 or 70 points at one stage in games, and he's still spraying us at 3/4 time. But yeah, quarter time, we must have been going that well in a game. I don't remember who we were playing, and I'm standing right at the back, and he was spraying us, and he sort of said like something funny, because he could be a bit of a smart ass too in the middle of his sprays. And I was at the back, and I started like giggling, laughing, and he just stared at me, didn't say anything. And then just went off for another 5 minutes. Like, the whole quarter time address was just about, hey, you weak dogs, you fucking this, that. You better fucking get this done. And then at the end of it, he's come up to me after, put his arm around me. He goes, it wasn't a bad spray, was it, Coons? No. So he was sort of like switched on, but then he come over to me. He's like, that was a good one, wasn't it? It's like, that's the sort of stuff that he sort of did.
I never got coached by that personally. I actually always felt I enjoyed that style of coaching. Like, not when it got sort of personal, but it can get the most out of you.
I think it's funny.
If you can get the most out of you, and there's like the follow-up, I think the follow-up's the biggest part of like being like, I would have the relationship after.
Yeah.
What was, like, when that whole thing came out, the Minson one came out, was that just like not a surprise to anyone about where it was, or is there still...
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No. I wish there was so much more of it.
Yeah.
Because...
Who else is like the biggest ones you've seen?
I copped a big one. I copped a massive one. And Rocket doesn't remember this. And it rattled me.
Isn't the name Rocket just such a good nickname for him as well?
For him as well. So I was young. We played in Perth one day. I was over there with Farron, who's from WA.
Farron Ray?
Yeah, Farron Ray. And we went out sort of like that late-ish that night just to meet a couple of his friends, cruise around, did whatever. Didn't have a big night or anything. Didn't drink alcohol or anything like that.
Pre-game.
It was pre-game, night before a game. We just went out because we were bored. Met a few of his friends, like stuffed around for a little bit. Didn't go to nightclubs or pubs or anything like that. Got back to the hotel. I don't even know. I can't remember what time it was, but the president was sort of walking in at the same time. I said, "G'day, Dave." Walked in, thought nothing of it. Went to bed. Next day, always started in the centre bounce. Rocket came up to me about 15 minutes before the game. He said, "Is it all right? You start on the wing, interchange bench side." And I thought, that's weird. So he started the game. We're a minute into it. I haven't touched it. I haven't even had time to have an impact. The runners come out. Coons, get off the ground. I'm thinking, I haven't even fucked up yet. What's going on? And you have to beat this out. So I've come to the bench. Phone's waiting for me. I'm like, fuck. And I've got on the phone, and all he's done is called me 10 times in a row. He's like, fuck you, you. And I'm thinking, what? What have I done? And then he just went on this tirade, and I haven't even touched a footy. I'm thinking, what is going on? You fucking. And then he goes, I know what you fucking did last night. You and your mate Farron fucking going out all hours. And at that stage, like, there's nothing.
This is a minute into the game.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do to calm him down. So I can't say, oh no, you just go, yep. I just couldn't say anything. I was like, yep. And he went, you better have the best game of your life or you're fucking playing VFL next week. Threw the phone away. Oh, that rattled. Didn't get a kick for the rest of the game. I couldn't get near it. I had no idea what was going on. And he went to Farron Ray. I gave him a massive spray at halftime in front of all the boys. You and your fucking mate again. And all the boys looking around like, what is going on? What are you talking about? So we lost the game. I played shit. Farron played shit. He wasn't talking to me. He was ignoring me. And then he doesn't even remember this story, which is wild. And I went up to him later that night, and he's like, "What?" And I said, "Mate, what was all that about?" And he goes, "Well, you know what was all about." I said, "Mate, we went out. Me and Farron went out and met a few of his mates. We didn't go out like to a nightclub or drinking." And he goes, "Oh, that's not that bad, is it?" Are you serious, mate?
That's amazing.
Then he just laughed and walked off. Like, far out. Yeah, I've told him that story so many times, and he's like, I can't even remember that.
Fuck, that's fantastic. No, we need more of that back in the day.
Wild.
Can you imagine like the way you're towards the back end of your career? You know how footy's changed these days. Could you imagine now, like looking back at the appointment of probably him going to Gold Coast with like fresh 18-year-olds moving up there away from home? Yeah. Do you think that would have a recipe? Like it was probably
maybe a couple of phone calls to a couple of Western Bulldogs players before they made that appointment. Yeah, Rocket's a coach where you need mature players like that can handle the heat, and he was never going to change his coaching style. You can't adapt at that age to be like calm. Maybe if you did some medicinal stuff that Hardwick's on, maybe that might have calmed down a little bit. But yeah, it was never gonna work. A team like that who needs to be nurtured, and it was probably that time where the next generation of coaches was coming through. Like I think Bevo was the pioneer for that, like the care and empathy and getting to know your players better than anyone else, so you can get the best out of them. Yeah, that was sort of the old school coach and the Sprays were sort of phasing out at that stage, and that was the last sort of crack that Rocket had with probably the worst group. I think, there's been a few players that have come out and said, it was pretty harsh, some of the stuff that he said. So, yeah, it was probably a mistake. Nice little superannuation package for Rod, though.
Good on him. It's good for the history. Towards the end of Bulldogs period, so as we mentioned before, after not being able to get the ultimate success through 08, 9, 10 periods, you sort of fell into a fair bit of injury period after that, didn't you? You played I think I've got it here, like 47 games in the next, how long? Wasn't many. I was pretty durable. Like I didn't miss a game for like 100 odd. I think I played 100 and something in a row. And then, 2008, I actually hurt my knee. I fractured my kneecap, and it sort of sheared away all the cartilage underneath it. So I played the final series in 08 with that, just jabbed up like 3 or 4 times. And again at halftime for those 3 games. So I wasn't able to play well in that final series, which is a bit disappointing. Then went and had surgery at the end of the 08 season, and they just when I fractured it, the sort of club said, "Oh, it's just fractured. Like, you can
actually keep playing on it. Should be okay if we just jab it up. So then I had surgery. Just shaved a little bit of the kneecap that had cracked off, but there was a heap of damage underneath my kneecap. Like all the cartilage has been sheared away because of that one force. So after 2008, it was just every time I trained or did anything really, it was pretty painful. And I had surgery after surgery after surgery, and every time it just kept getting worse and worse and worse to a point where, like, I hardly ever used to train. Like, after 2009, I used to do the main session. Like, I used to train 1 day a week to get up for games, and the rest of it was swimming, on the bike, doing boxing, training by yourself, like 70% of the time. So, and that just wore the love that I had for the game just wore away, and it just became a grind. All I'm doing, I'm a professional triathlete without the running. You're just doing it all day, every day, same shit. Couldn't train. I was in pain all the time. I used to have to warm up like 45 minutes before all the other boys to try and get out there and get my knee going. I used to hobble around for like half a session till I warmed up. And that was like 8 or 9 years, the last 8 or 9 years of my career, just doing that. So it became a bit of a battle. And as you know, like when you're in rehab, it's a shocking place to be. It's pretty lonely. So it became a bit of a grind. 2013, I was going to retire because I couldn't do anything. Like, when I was swimming, when I'd push off the edge of the pool, it would hurt. Like I couldn't do a bodyweight squat. I couldn't get in the gym. I was getting weak. I was starting to do hammies all the time, and because I couldn't build up the strength anymore. And it was just got to a point where I wasn't playing well. I couldn't do anything. So I was going to retire. I sat down with the docs, and then actually was reading an article on ESPN of Kobe Bryant, who had some knee issues, and he found a doctor over in Germany, in Dusseldorf, who his name was Peter Whaling, and he was the originator of this treatment called Regenikine over there. So they've got Orthokine here now, which is sort of similar. So I said to the club, look, I want to go over, see this doc, see if he can do something about it. And the club said, well, we don't know who this doctor is. He could be operating out of a back shed somewhere in Germany. I said, well, if it's good enough for Kobe, it's probably good enough for me as well. And the Pope visited him as well. So I think on his wall, he's got the podium, like the Pope, Kobe, and then me. Yeah. His 3 most famous people that he's treated. So I said, look, I'm going to go over there if you're going to support me or not. So I went over there.
In the off-season?
We had the London game, the exhibition game. So all the boys were in London. I flew to Germany, had my treatment over there, and then met them in London after that. But I seriously couldn't do a bodyweight squat. And I saw this guy and it was pretty expensive. It cost me €10,000, I think, for the treatment. So it was 5 days, 5 injections.
And did you have to do that yourself? The club didn't support you with it?
No, the club paid for the flights over there because they were paying for the flights anyway because we were going to London. So I paid for the treatment, which was fine. I was willing to do that just to see if it worked. So, and I remember after 3 days, I was by myself in Germany. I got the 3rd injection and it had done nothing. I was like, fuck, this is a waste of money. I'm ringing Kobe and I'm telling him he's a dog. So, and then the 3rd day I was sort of walking around Germany after, it got to the afternoon. I was thinking, actually, this is actually starting to feel okay. If I had the one on the 4th day and then the 5th. And after the 5th, I remember I was having a shower and I was doing bodyweight squats and I was feeling really good. Put my runners on and I just went for a run for about half an hour. And I haven't done that for, years, like 6 or 7 years without warming up, deep heat. Like Panadol, Nurofen pills, painkillers to get me going. And I just went for a run. I was like, this is amazing. So that set me up and I was able to play some okay footy in 2013. So this might have been the end of 2012. So 2013.
Yep.
I started to play pretty well. And it lasted about 18 months. So it sort of extended my career a little bit. So the €10,000 paid itself back because I got another contract off the back of that, which was nice.
And then what was it like once you went to like Essendon? Your body, like with that, was it able to maintain it then, or?
Not really. No, it sort of it wore off a little bit. I got some other treatment, which was okay and helped, but it did wear off after a little while. I went to Essendon. What was that? Yeah, end of 2014, which is probably the worst time to go there. Like, I would have been better off getting on the gear with all the players in 2012 and getting a holiday and getting a payout.
So that was just for – I want to go back to that, but just for time specific. So you left the Dogs.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of obviously a massive period for the club. So
Yeah, and it was a bit of a shock too because
Rocket sacked.
yeah.
You leave, Griff leaves, and Ward had left maybe the year before.
Yeah, Wardy left a couple of years before. Well, Wardy had to leave. Like, he didn't want to go, but he got a fair bit of money. The Dogs were just haggling over a couple of cents.
What were your memories over at him at that age as well, by the way? Like an 18, 19-year-old Cal Ward. Because he played in like prelims with you guys.
Yeah.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails.
Did you think he'd go on to do what he'd done?
I didn't think he'd last that long because of the way he played. Like, so combative, and he had a few concussions early. I reckon he got knocked out in his first couple of games with us, like just sprinting back with the flight.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, geez, he's pretty courageous, but I wouldn't be doing that every week. And he did. And he lasted a long, long time. I adjusted his game late, but yeah, he was an amazing player. Like nearly as hard as I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cal, and he's an amazing guy too. Yeah. So like, I was pretty sad to see him leave. He didn't want to go, but haggling over a couple of bucks. And he would have stayed for a lot less, but the Dogs just didn't stump up the rest of it. And we had no qualms or anything. Like, you can't begrudge a guy for taking that sort of opportunity. So,
did you see the article, the pod he did with, must have been on one of the AFL ones. I think it was with McLaughlin, and because we both probably know Cal is like the most loyal guy ever.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he wanted to stay at the Dogs, and he kept saying no, and then they kept like saying it was going to be $800,000 a year or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not going. And then in his head he goes, you know what? Like, I think I have to go.
Yeah.
And then he was about to call them and say, all right, I'll come. And then they called him and say, all right, we're going to go up another 200,000. And he's like, yes, okay, I'll come.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say no to that sort of money. Although some players have turned down some pretty big offers in the last few years. I know Wanganeen Miller was getting $2 million a year for the next couple, but he could have got $2 million a year for 8 years.
Yeah.
That's changes your generation.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where he goes with it. The Saints thing's a whole nother conversation. I don't even know how.
It's pretty wild about what's going on there at
the
moment. But what did you
were just saying, so the time of that club, like it just went from, basically finals to a bit of an exodus.
Yeah. So Rocket left, Brendan McCartney came in, and he was like an odd coach. Like, he's very, like, the PowerPoint presentation looked really good, really knowledgeable about, positioning and things like that. And we thought, well, this is great. Like, really good early, but as it sort of went on, the cracks sort of started to appear with how he coached, and felt like he didn't really get to know the players. And we're talking about, that next generation of, knowing what makes your players tick. He sort of wanted every player to be the same. And I remember having a conversation with him. He said the exact same thing that I said that I hated before. He said, mate, what are you doing? You need to be the first one in here, and you need to be the last one to leave. You don't do enough touch. You don't get out there on the floor and do your craft handballing. I said, well, mate, do that. I'm done. I'll do my head in doing that. So he didn't, I felt like he didn't understand or get to know the players and what made them tick. And that was at the time where I was really struggling sort of mentally with my knee and being in rehab all the time. And he just didn't get it. He just didn't understand what some of the stuff that I was going through, and some of the other players, and how he treated some of the younger players as well. Like, we would be in the leadership group, me and Griff and a few others, and we'd have young guys coming up to you saying, look, they didn't want to go to training. So, like, that's how bad it got. And there was a few parents that complained to the club with some of the younger guys. So it was like, got to the end of 2013, and myself, Griff, and a couple other leaders sort of stood up and said, look, this isn't good. This can't keep continuing. He's not the right guy for the job.
Is this to the...
This was like, we sat down and said that.
With each other?
Yeah. And then I had a meeting with Peter Gordon, the president at that stage, and had a really long chat to him. Probably not the right time to do it. It was at the Brownlow, halfway through the night. No, it was at the end of the night. Okay. It wasn't after a Mad Monday. Yeah, okay. But I sat down with Peter Gordon.
There's never a right time. Nah, that's probably not the best.
But I sort of outlined everything that was going on, and it was about 45 minutes. All the boys were trying to drag me away. And I was like, no, this needs to be said. Not now. No, it needs to be said.
It's too late.
So, like, I said my piece, and I said, look, this is what's happening. Just outline everything on the young players, the older players, disgruntled. He's not the right guy for the job, and he said, look, thank you so much for telling me this. I'll be in touch. I'm gonna give you a call. We're gonna sort this out. Still haven't heard from Pete. Yeah. So Pete didn't get back to me, and my exit meeting was like horrible. It was horrible. There was one of my assistants in there. There was Macca, the head of fitness, was in there, And they just sort of, talk about your year, whatever. And I said, oh, look, these are the things that were going on. I got myself into the best shape that I had been. Changed my diet completely. I was like 80, lightest I've ever been, playing a bit more outside on a wing. And I did a couple of hammies throughout the year, and I was just got so angry because what else can I do? Like I've got myself in this condition. I just keep getting injured. So I was really frustrated and really battling a little bit. And they didn't even really sort of take that into account about how I was feeling. They just said, oh, you didn't have a very good year. We felt like you weren't committed, which is bullshit. You're either going to be playing VFL next year, we're going to pay your contract out, or you tell us why you think you should deserve to stay at the club. I was like, well, it doesn't sound like you really want me here. So I walked out of the exit meeting and called my manager and I said, I think I'm in some trouble here. And then I talked to Griff about it, and Griff said, mate, if he's staying, the coach, and you're going, he goes, Sean Higgins. He's like, well, I'm going. And then Griff said, I'm leaving as well because I can't be here without the support of you guys. So Griff had a meeting with the club as well and said, look, this is what's happening.
And he's captain at this stage,
He was the
right?
captain, yeah. So pretty, like, we've got 3 or 4 of, your senior guys trying to tell the club what's going on and what's wrong.
Wow.
And the club said, look, we're going to back in the coach. So Griff said, well, I'm out. And I said, well, I'm out. And he said, well, I'm going too. And there was a couple other guys that left in that trade period. And then I had a meeting with a couple of other clubs. I was in a meeting with Brad Scott, North Melbourne, who were pretty good. They were in the premiership window at that stage. I was going to sign a 3-year deal with them. I had a really good meeting, got along really well with him, felt right. Halfway through the meeting, the PAs knocked on the door, walked in, just letting you know that your coach has been sacked from the Western Bulldogs. And Scotty's looking at me, he goes, mate, do you still want to be traded or do you want to go back to the Dogs? And I said, I think my time there's done. So eventually, after we all requested trades, the club thought, oh, hang on, something's not right here. They had a meeting with the coach and said, look, you've got to go. So we all left, and then they got rid of him anyway after all that. So I was a bit pissed off about that. I probably could.
So that was 2014?
End of 2014.
And then they win it in 16.
Then they won it in 16, yeah. So really, if me and Griff didn't stand up and actually leave the club and get the new coach in, the Dogs wouldn't have won the premiership. So thank you. You're welcome, Western Bulldogs fans.
I know you say that, but it's realistically,
well, it could have gone a different way.
Yeah,
if we all stayed, or if I just said, oh, okay, we'll pay out my contract, Griff probably would have stayed, and then Macca would have been there for the next couple of years, and I don't think they would have won a flag under Brendan.
Taggers, so you'd meet with North and Essendon. Anyone else?
I was going to meet with the Giants. So Leon called me because Leon was my midfield coach at the Dogs for many years. Had a great relationship with him. And he
Rocket.
Rocket. We can't think. So Leon called me, said, mate, come up, have a tour, bring the family up, see if you like it. We're keen to get you up on a couple of years, play some good footy. And I said, yeah, it sounds like a pretty good fit. Might be a good change for us. Flights were ready to go. And then Griff came out and said that he was leaving. And Leon calls me back. He's like, mate, we're going to get Griff. Sorry about that. Mate. Cancel your flights. You're not needed anymore. So, thanks, Leon. So Griff's like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to the Giants. I said, yeah, I was going to go there too, mate. You took my spot. So that was, and
that is fantastic.
Yeah, that was funny. So Griff went up there for a few years. I don't think he had the best time up there, unfortunately.
Well, just with his body, or just
he just couldn't get his body right, and he didn't, play his best footy because he was a star, superstar at one stage. Like, he just was untouchable.
Yeah,
and I think he was a bit rattled after what happened at the Dogs and couldn't get his head right. So
it's a massive thing for him too. Like, and look, you know Griff a lot better than me. But I was lucky to have a few years with him at the Giants, and then with Jez and Indy and Jazz. For context, like, I think a lot of people know this, but Ryan Griffin and Jezza Cameron are married to 2 sisters. So they're like extremely close. They live up in Geelong near you. So they were always tight, like Dawson Simpson. They were just thick as thieves, all the boys. But going back to when I met Griff and knowing how good of a player he was and is, not anymore, but was as a player, it always just surprised me the fact that, because I went there, I was like, oh, hey, mate, how are you? Being, thought he'd be like the captain of the Dogs, very vocal. Like, he's quite a quiet guy.
Yeah, he's pretty
And I was like, they stuffed him by putting that pressure on him to do that, because he should have just, he seems to me like one of those guys that you just let him cook. Yeah. Go out there, do your thing. Don't worry about having to tell people what to do because he was just such a fucking good player.
Yeah,
like,
and
just let him play.
Yeah, he was one of those, like, if he overthought things, then he wouldn't play well. And then they make him the captain. He's the last person that needed to be the captain of that footy club because he's a guy that he galvanizes everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone loves him and everyone comes to him with if they've got problems and he sorts them out. And he's that kind of guy, but he's not like a vocal.
He's very quiet.
He's not a vocal leader.
Man, it took me like 3 months to even like have a conversation.
And he didn't want to do it. He's like, mate, I don't want to do this. And he said, well, they're making me be the captain. I said, just say no. He's like, I can't say no. So they forced him to do that, and he'd shit himself all weekend about the 30-second speech pre-game. He would ask me every week, mate, can you do the speech? I go, I'm not the fucking captain, you do it. And he'd shit himself and he'd like stuff him up and then he'd worry about it and he'd get it in his head. There's that, like, I don't know why.
People would be fascinated to hear that.
I don't know why they made him the captain.
I think they've done a similar thing, not similar like personalities, but almost in the sense of like the Zach Merritt situation with Essendon at the moment. Yes, incredible player, wanted to do some leadership stuff, but it's almost like they've trapped him into being the captain. Now he can't leave sort of situation.
You can leave if you're the captain. There's been a few of those. Don't worry about that.
There has, but I feel like it's a similar thing. Like you don't always have to have the best player as the captain.
Yeah,
like,
and that was just a perfect example of what not to do. Like, just let the guy do what he needs to do. He's a leader in his own way. He hates media. Despises the media.
Yeah,
you'll never get him
4 times.
You'll never get him on a podcast.
I've called him 4 times today and he won't answer because he knows that this is coming up. I think that he potentially could be anywhere near a microphone.
No, he's just to force him to do that, I think. I mean, he still played some bloody good footy, but he was just his head was cooked, unfortunately.
Great man though. So Essendon, you get to Essendon, have the meeting with Hurd.
Yeah,
was he the coach at the time?
Signed, sealed, delivered at North.
Yeah, right.
Going to sign that deal. Probably could have lost another prelim or two if I stayed at North, which would have been good, or maybe it would have been the difference. Got him through to a grand final. So that was done. It's going to be a 3-year deal. And then I walked out and Adrian Dodoro called me straight away. So, what have you been doing? I said, I've just been in with Essendon. He said, with North. He said, look, I know you're pretty close to doing the deal, but just come and have a chat with me and Hurdy. So we met in a cafe and outlined everything. Got along really well with both of them. And they said, come into the club, do a tour, have a look at the facilities, and then we'll have a bit more of a proper meeting just before you sign this deal. Just see what you think. And I went to Essendon, pretty much got lost in the blue eyes and golden blonde hair of who is James Hurd, and he's just promised me put the team up on the board, all that. You'll be playing up on the wing. And I had a look at the team, and I thought it's pretty good. It's better than North's if they can. And I said, well, what's going on with all this supplement stuff? And he said, look, I can't give you a 100% guarantee that the players will be found not guilty. He said, I'll give you 99. And I was like, oh, that's good enough for me. I'm a punting man. 99% is pretty good odds, as it turned out. Not so good. The 1% hit us. But it was an odd preseason because the players were still provisionally banned my first preseason. So they didn't come into the club until pretty late, like before the season started. And I remember the players were found not guilty a couple of weeks before the season. So it was like, oh, happy days. I've made the right choice here. Jesus. We could be onto a good thing. Then the boys had come off no preseason. We played Sydney and then Hawthorn the first 2 rounds, which are grand finalists from the year before. We were 42 points up against Sydney halfway through the third quarter, and then they just steamrolled us, ran over the top of us. But I thought, well, we played pretty well against the grand finalists from the year before. Played Hawthorn the next week at the G, who were the premiers from the last year, and beat them. Beat them reasonably well, had a good day. So I thought, well, we've nearly taken care of both the grand finalists. We're onto a pretty good thing here. I've made the right choice, played some okay footy to start the year, and then the appeal came from WADA. And then after that, it was just like the arse fell out of the joint.
So those when they were found not guilty, they were playing in the first 2 rounds? Yep. So you had your full strength team.
Back straight away.
And then as soon as they
appealed... But they were a bit underdone.
Yeah.
Lads.
As soon as they appealed, did they stop playing? Or they just mentally
playing.
Took it out of everyone?
They kept playing, but there was just so much anger around the place.
Fucking oath. Yeah,
and like Joe, who had been like shouldering the whole responsibility and the whole load as the figurehead of that and sticking up for everyone, you could just see that he just was so worn out. He just couldn't do it anymore, and it affected him. And then there was anger towards Hurdy from the players, and things just really fell apart from there. And I remember, and one of the lures of going to Essendon was, you get to play in the big games. So you get to play Anzac Day, all those sorts of things. And I did my hammy the week before Anzac Day. So I was like, fuck, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to come here. So I missed that. I played another 4 weeks. I did my other hammy, and then I missed another 3. So it was an injury interrupted year. And then we played the Giants in Sydney. I come off the line at half forward, knocked out Stephen Cornelio. I got 2 weeks for that. Did my ankle and didn't play again for the rest of the year, had surgery, and then Hurdy got sacked at the end of that year. So that was 2015 at the Bombers. Yeah. And it got worse after that. You think that was bad?
Sliding door.
Far out.
When you come back, so like 2015, 2016, you say it goes downhill again. Is that then when the top-ups come in and everything? So what's your understanding, and what are they talking to you about? Because it would be, who were the players that were sort of on the list prior to the top-ups that weren't? There wasn't many. It's just pretty much you?
There wasn't many. There was Zaka. So David Zaharakis, because he was scared of needles.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of other players.
Was James Kelly there as well?
He was a top-up.
He was a top-up.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he was a top-up. So most of them came
Paul Chapman?
Chappie was a top-up. Jimmy Gwilt was one who came with me the year before. And then there's a few younger guys that weren't there who were playing. But there was only maybe half a dozen of us, maybe a couple more that were there and playing every week from the year before. So once the players got suspended, I pretty much knew that was the end, because 2016 was going to be my last year, most likely. So I thought, well, that's the end of my career. I'm never going to play in a premiership, never going to have any success. So I was a bit down for a while about that, thinking, oh shit, what's the point of even playing next year? And then once I got through that, pre-season was wild. We'd have our core group in the locker room, and then each training session there'd be a few different players that would filter in to try out, to have a little try out and train for us. And they put a couple of them in a different changing room. So we'd get to training in the morning. Who's going to be joining us today? And there'd be these poor little suckers in the other room, waiting to meet the guys and try and get a spot on the list. And they would sort of filter them through. And every couple of weeks we'd sign another one or sign a couple more. And eventually we put together a team. I think we might have won 3 games for the year, which was an amazing result considering they just put together this team in a pre-season. There was a few old has-beens and a few younger guys who had been delisted, given another opportunity. So to put together a team that won a few games was pretty amazing. But as I said, once I got through the heartbreak of me knowing that I wasn't ever going to play in a successful team again, 2016 was actually quite enjoyable because you have a bad game. We might have lost by 80. Generally, you lose by 80. You're going into a meeting, a game review, and thinking, oh, shit, this is going to be horrible. Nothing, because there was no expectation. John Worsfold was a coach at that stage.
Okay. I thought Bomber was around then. Did he leave with Hurd?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no, he left before Hurdy.
He left before
Hurdy.
Yeah,
he wasn't at the club when I got there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Woosha comes in.
So Woosha came in and was like, look, boys, we know the situation. It's pretty shit. We'll do our best. And the game reviews were awesome. So it was the funnest year that I've had because there was no expectation. There was no pressure. If you had a good game, it was like, oh, happy days. If you played shit, we'll just move on to the next one. But I do remember it might have been 2015 or 2016. So formerly, only till a couple of weeks ago, I was the only number 1 draft pick to win the Brownlow.
Yes.
Which has been taken now by Matt Rao. So we share that. So that was one of the 2 AFL records I've got. The other one, do you know what it is? It's a good one. Most out of bounds on the full in one game.
How many?
5. And that
was at the not counting Neefel or VFL.
That was at the Bombers as well. So once I sprayed my 5th one out of bounds on the full, I was like, my career's done here. I'm cooked.
Fucking hell.
5 in a game. 4 shots at goal too.
Who stands out as some of your the pickups that came in the preseason? The top-up, in the preseason. A good mate of mine, you might not have even, he might have been one of the ones in the other change room, Sam Grimley, formerly Hawthorn.
Yeah.
I think he kicked 4 on Anzac Day or something, or one game. He
might have had a big one. Yeah, I don't remember a lot about what happened on the field with those guys. But they were all really good guys. Yeah. I don't know if it was because they, even Chappie and James.
Chappie's one of my favourites, man.
Well, because I hated them.
Yes.
Like, because we had so many battles against Geelong, and they were lippy, and they get stuck into me, and we get stuck into them, and so I hated Chappie, and I hated Lingy, and I hated James Kelly, and when I got to, and I hated Jake Melksham as well, who was there. So there's you've got these preconceived ideas like these blokes are fuckwits.
Yeah.
But then when you get to the club, spend a week with them, it's like, Chappie's actually a really good guy,
Yeah.
and Kel's a really good guy, and Melky's awesome. So it's funny you hate these guys, but then when you actually get to know them, they're actually really good people. So it was great to see the other side of a few of those guys.
What about jumping around a bit here? But when Akka came to Dogs, what was that like for the group? Was it strange?
I wouldn't say it was strange. There was a few people that just didn't gel with him, and that's Akka. Like. He went to my wedding, so I got along well with him. Like he was fine, but you could see how he could polarize his opinion because of how confronting he is sometimes and the things he says. And
was he like that as a teammate? Was it just obvious? Like was he just?
He was like that as a teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got it. Like he's a different personality. There's no doubt about that. But he just couldn't. He couldn't see that some of the stuff that he did affected everyone else. But he polarized opinion. They forced him to stop doing the handstand at the Dogs as well, some of the players. I was like, who cares if he does a fucking handstand? But there was a few people that didn't like it. They thought it was a bit individualistic, and there was a few of us that were laughing, sitting back going, who gives a shit really? But so he rubbed a few people up the wrong way. He still plays some good footy. And I used
to wear the nomas. I used to love watching.
Yeah,
he's
I wore them for a year or two.
Yeah, you
as
did.
well.
I know.
Are you a boot man?
I'm a massive boot man. I love, like, as a kid, I used to go and just try on every fucking pair of boots.
Yeah.
I remember you and Akka would wear the nomas.
They were quite comfortable.
They were, and there was like the wet and the dry.
Yeah.
There was like the sticky dry, then there was like that.
Know your boots.
The other wet.
I don't think I played that well in them.
There was the white and green pair I feel like you used to wear.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I used to wear the sticky ones at times. But, they're the white and green mostly. Gee, you're real nuffy, ain't you?
Yeah, I used to love.
How do you remember
boots.
that stuff?
Don't know. I think it's a bit of
Do you remember all your games?
Oh, there's not many, so it's pretty easy. But no, it's not really games. Like I'm more of a
moments,
numbers,
just
and
big
boots.
moments guy.
Nah, numbers and boots.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember everyone's numbers?
Yes, you were 17 at both clubs.
Yep.
Akka was 21.
Nah, first year at Essendon, I didn't. First year at Essendon, I wore a different number.
Was it 9?
No.
Give me the teen.
Teens. It was in the teens.
15?
No.
13?
Yes.
I didn't remember that.
13.
No,
Not many do.
No, definitely didn't remember that.
Not many do.
So
I didn't play that much.
Yeah, how many
One
years?
year, and then I changed to 17 when Melky went on holidays for a year. Jake Melksham.
Yeah, nice. So while he's going through the hardest time of his life, you just thought, no, fuck it.
I didn't even give him a chance to clean out his locker. I just threw his shit and said, that's me. I thought I'd play better in the 17. Didn't work out that way.
How, now, like you're a coach. Who are you coaching?
Geelong College.
Geelong College.
In the APS, yeah.
We were talking before about coaching, and obviously you're a different personality to a lot of the young kids coming through now. Like everyone's quite straight and does their stuff. And you're talking about when McCartney was there and Luke Beveridge and the difference between all the coaches you've had. How do you think now coaches are compared to what they were in the sense of embracing the person they're coaching? Like Jason Ackermanis wants to do his handstands.
Yeah.
Bailey Smith gets used a lot with embracing him and Ginnivan and Nick Watson and these types of players. Like, do you think you would have done better yourself personally in this day and age?
No, because I had the right coach to let me do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was lucky in that sense that he'd let me do my thing in Rocket, whereas Brendan McCartney didn't at all. So that was maybe why I didn't play that well and a few body issues and whatever. But I love that players now can actually show a bit of personality and a bit like Akka now would be able to do his handstand nude if he wanted to because you can just you can do so much more now, even celebrating goals. Like I wasn't a big celebrator of goals because I thought, oh shit, I don't want to get seem like it's all about me. Whereas now they pre-plan their sellies and all that sort of stuff. So it's good. I think coaches know their players better now. They let them be themselves. Social media's obviously pretty prevalent in their lives, and they can do their podcasts and make their TikToks, whatever these young whippersnappers get up to these days. So I like it. I like that players can show their flair and and show their personalities a little bit. I must admit, when I started coaching Geelong College, I was a bit more on the demonstrative side. like a bit of like rocket coming out in me. And these are school kids, like years 10 to 12 that I coach, a handful of year 10s, but most of them are year 11s and 12s. And I think the first year and a half that I coached was a bit confronting for them because I was a little bit too fierce with them at some stage and some of the language that I used. But the sort of back end of this year when I was coaching, I changed a little bit because it wasn't how I wanted to coach. It wasn't how I wanted to be coached as well. Like some of the stuff that, the sprays that they still stick in your mind, and take some stuff that I hated that coaches did to me and try and turn that around. So I made a few mistakes in my first year and a bit that I was coaching the boys at college. And the thing is, you don't get a lot of time to bond with them or get to know them because it's school footy. You only get an hour and a half, a couple of days a week. So, and I'm not full time at the school. So, it's trying to get to know them as quickly as possible and see what makes them tick. But just being a bit more gentle with them, I've found has worked in the last probably 6 months that I've been coaching.
Would you want to get back involved at AFL level coaching? Or
no, not for what they do.
Yeah,
you don't get a day off.
Geelong do. I feel like they always got a day off.
The coaches, the players do.
Yeah.
The coaches work so hard now that
they really do, yeah.
Like they finish a game, so you play in Sydney, finish a game, go to the airport. On the flight home, they're rewatching the game, starting to cut up and code edits. So you have to watch a game. It takes 3 or 4 hours. I could do it now with my boys at college, rewatching a game, and even that takes a few hours on a Monday to try and get a review together. But then you're there every day, and then you get a day off during the week. But there's a couple of guys who are development players. Will ask the midfield coach, can you come in and can we do some craft, some stoppages? So you're in there. You're working your ass off really it's pretty good cash compared to, mowing lawns for $30 an hour. But that's just the time. It's so time consuming that I don't think I'm at that stage to be jumping right back into it.
I love honestly, I love your honesty of just what you like doing and what you don't do. And I feel like you're very aligned with yourself. You don't want to do stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to do anything, actually.
Yeah, but you were saying like...
Mate, you chased me down for 3 months trying to do this.
I know, and mate, it was fucking hard, and now I'm really realising why.
Last night in bed, after my 40th, I said to Hayley...
I love how honesty, he's like, mate, I'm going to forget about it on Monday. And I'm like, all right, I'll message you and see if you're still keen.
I said to Hayley, she said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I got this fucking podcast. I said, I'm going to cancel it. I can't be fuck going. I just need a bit more. I need a bit more sleep. And she said, "There's no fucking way you're cancelling it." I said, "What?
I love Hayley,
can
man.
you please? Because I'm so tired." She said, "No, because you'd be letting him down. You can't let him down." I said, "Oh,
that's lovely
right."
by her.
I know. So Hayley got me here.
Good on you, Hayley. I really appreciate that. But you're saying like even just you and Griff at the moment, like you're doing a bit of coaching, family, and then. What are you doing? Working as a groundskeeper?
Yeah, me and Griff are gardeners.
That's amazing.
So we put in our high vis in the morning, go and mow some lawns.
Where for?
Do some mulching. Company called Programmed in Geelong. So it's a big program.
Yeah.
It's a big company. So we just work for them and get on site and mow some lawns,
just
do some mulching.
Listen to some podcasts?
I've never listened to a podcast. Apart from yours.
Of course.
Yours is the best one.
Yeah. The confidence there.
So many favourite episodes. I couldn't even name one.
Yeah.
No, I don't listen to podcasts for something.
That's
don't listen to sports, talkback, radio, never have.
Yeah.
I don't know, I listen to music. I mean, I've been listening to a bit of Taylor Swift. Her new album's pretty good.
I've heard that. Mate, to finish up, who do you love for 2026? Teams, players, coaches? Like, who do you love to watch? I used to, a couple of years ago, I used to hate watching the Hawks. These little arrogant little rats. But the more you watch them, the more fun it is. They're amazing.
And I don't, I've probably changed my tune a little bit because, again, when I played, those sorts of things that you did, like even when I started, you wear black boots and you don't earn your right to wear white boots until you're 3 or 4 years into your career. So I used to get white boots, get the Sharpie out and colour them in because the white boots were better than the black boots, but I wasn't allowed to wear white boots early. So even like a player celebrating a goal, you wouldn't do too much. You wouldn't overdo it. But now it's like when they started, here's this little whiz, here's this little cocky little fucker. But now I love him. I love watching the Hawks play. Any teams that take the game on and play with a bit of flair, I like watching. Like I was a big fan of Port Adelaide for the last few years because they play some good footy. Now they got scored back, going back the other way against a few times, and that probably cost them, a couple of spots in the grand final. But I like the way that they played. So I don't think I'll like watching them next year because they might struggle a little bit. But, I mean, I've got a soft spot for the Cats as well. living down in Geelong, there's every Geelong sort of supporter comes up and has a chat to you, and it's hard to not admire what they do. Like,
where are the doggies at for you on that list? Like, do you feel connected to them?
I do in a way. My young fella's in the academy there, so I go down there every now and then. But because I left there and because of everything that happened and how shit it was, and I felt like I've been treated pretty poorly towards the end of it, and it took a while for myself to get in contact with the club again, and I've been back there a few times now. Like Matty Egan is in the footy department there, who I'm good mates with, so he's dragged me back there a couple of times. But I suppose because of the way it ended there, you do sort of feel a little bit heartbroken, and I was angry for a while there, but you move on. You get over those sorts of things. There's no point in holding that resentment. But I suppose the real love and passion isn't there for any team, really. I don't know if that's maybe because I'm sick of footy or not, but who knows?
Yeah, it's an interesting one about like rebuilding the relationship with the club, because at the end of the day, the club's bigger than all the individuals. And
Yeah,
I think
you're
it'd
right.
be great to have like, I don't know, you often don't, maybe just because I don't see a lot of Western Bulldog stuff, but you don't really see a lot of those guys from your era like 9, 10, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11 coming back and getting involved.
It's what they're trying to get better at that.
Yeah.
Now they've been really poor. Well, not really poor. They could be a lot better at getting their past players involved. They've got a past players association, and I've heard from them a lot of times, which has been great. But yeah, getting those guys, because there's a lot of disgruntled Western Bulldogs champions that fall out with the club, and I'm not sure why. So
why is that? Does that?
I don't know.
I don't think
everyone's got their reasons, right?
Yeah.
So
not many people leave on good terms, but like,
no, you're
I
right,
don't
because
like
everyone
this-
thinks that they've got more
Exactly.
in them.
Like, man, I got delisted. No, you always think that you're good, but like you've got to. I think I was always really big on when I left somewhere, and it's different because maybe there was more at stake for people that have actually playing games. But
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to be welcome back and understand like it's just business.
Yeah.
Even if it's bad business, it is just business.
Yeah. And that's what took me a long time to sort of realise that, once you finish, they've moved on. They've got players there that they still care
And
about.
mate, the same thing's going to happen to those guys.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're all going to get pissed off.
Yeah. But there seems to be like an odd amount of Dogs players that, have been disgruntled or arguing with the club, and champions as well, like Dougie and Westy at times, and
right.
and these sorts of guys. But no, I don't have any ill feelings towards the club. Actually, been back there a few times, been in the rooms, a couple of times, which has been great to see everyone. There's still a few of the old staff members there, so I do have love for the Dogs, but it's just not as passionate as what I would have been if I'd stayed a one club player. And Essendon are pretty good too. I've played 30 shit games there and played there for 2 years, and they still get in contact and invite all to the days and things like that. So they do it really well, and I think the Dogs have got a little bit to go. But as I said, Matty Egan is been really good at trying to get some of those guys back to the club.
There's a few good weapons down there now at the Dogs, and not that I knew when you were there, but like Amit Baines, Sam Power, and Luke Power, the Power brothers. So Luke Power's gone back there, head of development, I reckon.
Yeah, Amit's been good as well. Amit's
Yeah,
contacted me a few times to get me back there. So
Really
those
good
two guys are doing good things at the club, which is positive for them. So hopefully we can get everyone back there.
Bloody oath. Let's get bloody...
Let's get Zephaniah Skinner back there.
Let's get Nathan Eagleton down there. Let's get...
He's been down there a few times.
Ryan Hooper. Was it Ryan Hooper?
Oh, Andrew Hooper.
Andrew Hooper, sorry.
Andrew
North
Hooper.
Ballarat. He was a weapon, that little...
Cameron Faulkner. You remember Cameron Faulkner from back then? Wade Skipper, a few of those
Wade
names.
Skipper, yes.
Patrick Wiggins. That
Brett Goods.
might be before your time.
Ves Premi.
Patrick Vespremi. Yeah.
There's a few good names there. Last one. We had... This is my question. I don't know if it's hard to even articulate, but my favourite era of footy, and I don't know if it's just because this is when I was loving it the most or I was involved with it, I suppose, as a fan, a spectator playing. But I think around from 2008 to 2015 was the peak of teams.
Yeah, right.
And I was chatting to Luke Bruce the other day on the pod, and we were talking about like his career. He went from being drafted in 2009, so he played with like Hodge, Franklin, Roughhead through that era, won 3 flags, then went through the next phase, and now he's played with the Hockball phase.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, against each other, if you could take the two teams, like who would win? And he's like, mate, every day of the week, like that 08 would pants them.
Yeah.
And I even thought about with the Geelong. I was like, Geelong period, like Hawkins,
Scarlett,
Enright, Scarlett, Ablett.
Kelly.
against the new Geelong.
Yeah, I think they'd have them covered.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, am I just more in that period going, oh, they'd have them covered and maybe because it's older, it's a bit more romantic? Or I look at, think about your team, 08, 9, and Bulldogs have a great list, but Morris, Cooney, Eagleton, Harris, all that. Like, how would that match up against the modern team now?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's a different game.
It's a very different game, but just the players, I suppose.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure.
Bontempelli's a very good player.
I think the 09 Dogs might have beaten the current Dogs. I reckon we might have had him covered.
Okay.
Just get the matchup. I'd play on Bont. I'd just tag him out of the game.
Yeah, many have tried that. It hasn't really worked.
I'm not too sure, but I liked watching footy. So I didn't watch a lot of footy as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I was a Carlton supporter growing up, living in Adelaide. Didn't care if the Crows were on. So, and it was free to air only. So if I'd watch the Blues every 3 weeks when they were on TV, and I didn't watch any other footy. Like I went to my first AFL game, I think, when I was in an academy, and like when I was under 17s. So I didn't watch a lot of footy, didn't go to a lot of footy. I just followed Carlton. So I really started to watch it closely when I was leading up to getting drafted, and then even watching footy as I played. Always watched the Friday night game and a couple of games on a Saturday, because we used to have the graveyard shift at 4:40 on a Sunday afternoon quite often, playing at the Dogs. So you'd watch
UV Freo every week.
Yeah, I'll watch a fair bit of footy over the weekend, getting ready, shitting yourself all weekend to play. So I reckon, mid 2000s to about that era when I started to play all right, but then the footy was really hard. It was tough, and it was it started to get pretty quick too. Like we played a fast brand of footy, and then teams started to play that way as well. Now it is just how many tackles have a game?
Very tactical.
Well, how many? There's probably 50 tackles a game now. Whereas back in the day we used to aim for sort of 80 or 90. So the tackling's dropped away. It's pretty quick, but I still enjoy it. It's still good to watch.
Peak footy is for me is that almost the ad.
The AFL ad.
The AFL ad. Yourself, Brett Delidio, Buddy,
Gary,
Juddy.
Yeah, Jonathan Brown.
Gary Ablett, Jono Brown. We'll have to put it, but it's the one where you're all playing like against the...
I dodged the ball.
Wasn't that a real ball?
It was a real ball, stuntman. We used the stuntman to so it was in a real cage. So they had the fake tattoos or whatever that they put on. So this guy looked exactly like me, but it was probably just a little bit bulkier. But yeah, he's like one take, had the footy in the hand, ball coming at him. He had that one chance to get around this thing and just eased his way around and then pushed the.
And then how'd they get you? Like they superimposed you?
And then I just sort of, I don't know, I just ran in after it and then kicked it to Gary. So this was out of the U-Yangs where we did that ad. So they had the ball in one thing.
That's the best ad of all time.
And then I had to kick the ball to Gary, who was running under these two cars who flipped over. So I had to hit this kick. So we only had one take.
So it's actually...
Yeah, these cars crashed in the air and rolled over. We had one take, so I had to hit this kick or else it would have been... Like the scene would have been cooked and the cars would have been wrecked.
So everyone was actually there shooting it?
I think it might have been just me and Gaz on that day for that shoot. And the other guys did. Yeah, so I had one crack at it. I think I kicked it on my left actually and just nailed Gaz, and then the cars flipped over, and we actually didn't even get paid from the AFL for that ad. We should be still getting royalties.
Follow that up, man, because I watch it most nights before I go to bed. Coon, thank you so much, mate. You're a star. That was did you feel all right?
I felt good, yeah. You picked up my spirits.
No, thank you, mate.
I was a bit flat driving in here, but you got me up and about.
Mate, well, I can always ask you questions about yourself and we can just keep talking. But mate, congrats on a awesome career, and whatever's next, we'll have to get up there for a beer with Griff and the boys and see what's next.
I'm not having a beer till I'm 50th, I don't reckon.
Okay, well, we'll catch up in a couple of years.
Thanks, mate.
Good on you, mate.